Welcome to the Reach the Stars podcast, a collection of conversations with cool people who do cool things. Brought to you by Papercraft Miracles. Each week, we'll bring you inspiring stories of persistence, passion, and purpose. With your host, Jonna Willoughby Lohr.
Welcome to the Reach the Stars podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Jonna Willoughby Lohr, and with me today is Lisa King. She is a speaker, international best-selling author, Selfloveologist. Love that, by the way. She's a TEDx speaker, and I'm going to pick your brain about that. She's a mentor, a lover of life. She helps others ignite their passion. And that's her gift in her life, is her ultimate passion of helping other people. And she has authored several books. She's done mentorship programs, and you name it, she probably did it. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
So exciting. I love that this show has brought me to interview lots of people who I don't actually know in person, many of whom live on the other side of the globe from where I am. So do you want to tell everyone a little bit more about you and where you are now and where you come from?
Yeah. So my name's Lisa. I celebrated turning 50 a couple of weeks ago, so I'm growing old very disgracefully, which is very cool. I'm a Londoner, so I'm from London, very proud Londoner, very proud lesbian, very out there and very much part of the community. I've moved recently to Gloucester, which is in the west, so it's in the southwest of England, to the country, complete opposite to London. I'm a selfloveologist. So I've always wanted an ology. School wasn't my thing, so I thought I'd just claim it. So yeah, for me, self-love was never a thing growing up, and then it became my ultimate gift to myself. And then when that happened, life changed. So for me, it's all about showing everybody that when we have self-love, anything and everything is possible.
That's awesome.
That's what I do.
I also have my own ology, but I believe in weird shitology. I believe there's weird shit out there that cannot be explained, and I am here for it.
Love it. I'd say that's actually way cooler than mine.
I think they go well together, you know?
Yeah.
I think that should be the next college courses.
I think, hey, the education system needs sorting. I don't know about in America, but it certainly does for the UK.
Oh my God, it's a shit show over here. Yeah. Thank God there's only like a couple days left of the school year for my kid.
Oh, really? We've got another term. So I don't have kids. I'm a big enough one myself, so it's not so. But there's another half term here, so about another 6 weeks.
Oh, goodness.
Something like that. 4 to 6 weeks.
I couldn't put up with that here. He's got the rest of today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then he's done for the summer until September. Oh, thank God. Virtual school has been a thing, and I'm really glad that it's going to be over.
I can only imagine. My brother and sister-in-law have got 5 at the house. We're homeschooling when all this was going on, so yeah.
No, I only have 2, and one of them isn't old enough for attending everyday school like that. So if it was more than one kid trying to do Zoom school with more than one kid in different classrooms, I would lose my mind. Yeah. Let's just hope that next year is better. Next year is going to be better. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about what you do for your business. How do you put your Selfloveology out there, and what fills up your days?
Okay, so I used to be a personal trainer. I've been in the health and fitness industry for many years, and I was a personal trainer, had my own sports coaching business. And then when all this kicked off about 18 months ago, it went. And I'd had other interests and lots of mental health work and things. So I thought, actually, I'm going to take some time out and I'm going to give back. So I set up a Facebook group, and I did a lot of work around really helping people at the time when they really needed it. And I am a bit of a joker, so I sort of held, events where we'd have a bit of a laugh and set up, about connection more than anything. And I came up with an idea about getting a group of people to write in a book, because I'd been part of a collaboration. And I did that. And so we created Stories of Truth and Triumph. And it was literally 16 stories of people's journeys and all the money goes to a young person's mental health charity. And that sort of kick-started many different things. So I've now started a business mentorship. I've been in business a long time. So I help people to ignite their gift. And, we've all been through many different challenges, but my gift is showing people that what we've actually been through is their gift. Because once they realize that all those skills and things that they've used to be able to cope or get through that time is actually what will get them to exactly where they need to be. And so we've started doing that, which is awesome. I've now started a publishing arm through these books because so many people have asked to do the books. And I help and guide people to love who they are. So that's with either mentorship or groups. But for me, once you have that self-love, the inner peace you have, nothing beats it. So if you can do that, anything's possible, in my opinion. So that's what I do.
That's so great.
Yeah.
It's wild because our I guess capitalist society, especially in the fitness world, is so built around, you're not thin enough, you're not beautiful enough, you need to work harder, you have to be skinnier or trimmer or whatever, in order to kind of drive the beauty industry and the health industry and things like that. And I was wondering how do you fight against that in your healthcare practice and stuff like sport?
I mean, I've stopped doing that element probably about 18 months ago, but I still get a lot of people come to me because of it. From the point of view of the, when I was doing in the fitness industry, I would get a lot of people who were doing things to cope, but unless you get to the root of why they're doing, things around food or that type of stuff and work on the inner self, then I think the external things won't hit as hard or won't impact as much. But being in the gyms and seeing, how people think they need to look or need to be. And it's like, just be you. So I love to, I'm a nonconformist. I'm somebody who's like, if you say you can't, I'm like, watch me. Because, and I like to, I'm a bit of a square peg and I like being a square peg. So that element, I was always really busy because with clients, because I wasn't somebody who would fit the norm. I'd say, look, go out there and do this. And so I would take people out their comfort zone and take people who were told they might never walk again up mountains. And I'm like, you can. So for me, it was always helping people to show what's possible. Because, you're right. I mean, the fitness industry, the health industry is all about looking stunning. So it's like, go inwards and then you won't worry about what's going on externally. So
it's tough too, because there is this pressure on it's women and men, but especially on women to conform to looking like a Barbie doll, right? And for a lot of people, myself included, going to the gym and being, having this expectation that you're going there in order to change the way that you look, because the way that you look isn't right. And everywhere is covered in mirrors. And you show up there and you're like pointing out all the things.
White lights, focusing on the imperfections. Yeah.
And, you're trying to do exercise and things that if you don't exercise a lot of those things are really physically difficult, and your face gets red and you're making a stupid face and everyone can see it. And I'm like, never going back there again, and I've really been working in my own head about changing my mindset about exercise in the first place, because having those experiences, I mean, as a kid, I was super active. I was a gymnast. I was on the swim team and the soccer team. I did synchronized swimming. Like, I did a lot of physical sports and things like that. But once I went to college, I didn't really do any of those. I was just kind of in the art studio and whatnot. And once I got into my 20s, I just wasn't in the habit of doing a lot of exercise, aside from occasionally riding my bike around because I didn't have a car for a while. And I've definitely, my appearance has changed. I used to be real fit and real skinny, and now I'm not. And I've been changing a lot of my own mindset that you want to go and do exercise and work with your body because it changes the way that you feel, not the way that you look. And it's just so interesting to see how different people's perspective is on the fitness industry, because that pressure is so intense to have it be about results, like physical before and after pictures and things like that. And I've really been, in order for my own self-love to have a space to do anything, I have had to work really hard to not think about it like, ooh, now I fit these pants. And I'm like, who cares about the pants? It's not about the pants. It's about, I can get out of bed and not go in the morning or whatever.
You know what the biggest tip I've always done this from the day I started is do things you enjoy. The gym is not for everyone. I say to people, if you love walking, go walking. I can give you any program to challenge you walking. Do things that you enjoy, because the minute you go, I wouldn't go to a gym now. And I'm an ex-gym bunny. I used to love the gym, high intensity training. I used to love it. Now I'm like, I couldn't think of anything worse. So what I do now is I do things that I enjoy. So that'll either be, I've got a pool, I'm renting somewhere in the country and I've got a pool. So I'll go in there. Sometimes I swim. Sometimes I go on the inflatable unicorn called Ulysses. It depends. I might go walking or silly things like that I enjoy doing that actually brings a joy to movement. As opposed dancing, I love to dance. And I do things like that rather than things that I don't enjoy, because for me, I'm a rebel. So I will just go, do you know what? Okay, I don't do it. And I won't. So, and I'm an ex-PT. So my mindset is the best it could ever be. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. So I would say to anybody with regards to, to exercise full stop, mindset-wise, do things that you enjoy. Have some self-compassion for days when you're not feeling up to it, but do something rather than nothing. So that you're, if you've got a day planned where you were going to do something, just go out, even if it's 5 minutes for a walk or something where you're actually acknowledging that you're tired and you're thinking, well, actually, I'll just go outside for 5 minutes, because that's still making an effort. So you're valuing you, but you're also valuing the fact that you're really tired and you don't want to go, and that's okay. So and then what that will do is make you more inclined to do something another day. So I think self-compassion is massive, and do things that bring you joy and move, and that way you'll be more inclined to do it.
For sure. I wanted to give a little plug. Obviously, I love doing yoga. Yoga for me is like exercise in church at the same time. And my favorite class that I go to is on Sunday morning. So it's kind of perfect. Works great for me to kind of start my week out without being a crazy person. No offense to crazy people. I am among y'all.
None taken.
But I want to give a little plug to my very, very favorite form of exercise. And it's this app called the Become Project that is put out by this amazingly wonderful individual, Bethany Myers. And they designed their entire life really around body neutrality. And it's not always being positive about your body, but accepting that you have a body and sometimes you like it and sometimes you don't. And all of that is okay. And they have the app, the way it's designed, it's kind of like yoga and Pilates and dance, but it changes every week. So you learn enough of it so you can do it every week, but then the next week it's something totally different. So it never gets boring. It's not like, that exercise DVD that you throw in and it's the same every single time. I mean, it's not like that. And they have people of all different body types who are working along with them in it. It's wonderful. And I think everyone should go check it out. So
honestly, please send that to me, because I've got quite a big network around both the fitness. I'm more than happy. I love things like that. I absolutely love it. So please send me a link and
I definitely will.
Wide.
It's amazing. And they have their own Facebook group for it. And you're not allowed to talk about, you can't post any before and after pictures or talk about, doing exercise for the purpose of weight loss or fitting in clothes. It's all about supporting each other in being okay with the fact that we're all alive and we do exercise because it makes us feel better.
I thought you were saying they weren't allowed, as in Facebook was stopping them.
No. That's the way they set up the group. They're like, we don't want that. That's not the vibe we're doing here. Like we don't do Become Project to lose weight. We do it because we feel different when we're done. And when you first log into the app, you choose up to 3 emotions of how you're feeling when you start. And then when you're done with the exercise, you choose 3 emotions of how you feel at the end. So you can actually see how differently you feel when you do it. It's so cool. And
that's a great idea. Absolutely.
Bravo to them for just putting that out there. And they had been in the fitness industry for a really long time and had developed eating disorders and really, really struggled with taking care of their own body and fighting against that pressure to be super thin and super fit and do everything perfectly all the time. And they have just made this amazing app. Anyway, so there's my little commercial for the Become Project. Go check it out, y'all. There'll be links in the show notes for that. So I want to talk more about your TED Talk. What did you talk about and how did that come about? And I love TED Talks. I think that's so fun.
So I did it. I did the actual talk December, because of the last 18 months, I'm completely losing track. December 2019, I think it was. Yeah, December 2019. And it was called Unmasking the True You. So I actually took physical masks with me. I had them created by an artistic friend of mine. And so I had the people pleaser mask, the Joker mask, and the Lone Ranger. And I spoke about where these masks came from because I had an upbringing around domestic violence. So even though I had the most, amazing unconditional love from my mum, what my dad did and the way he behaved and abandonment, trust, worthiness, not good enough. I mean, you name it. As a kid, I created all these, beliefs and he was crap. People say, no, he was shit. He actually was a really crap dad. He's a lovely guy to everyone else, but he was a crap dad and a crap husband when he chose to be. So it's like these masks were snowballing and all these different masks that I put on to cope. And then at 12, I was raped by 2 people that I knew. And I shut off then to the world. So I literally was drinking, doing drugs, doing things you shouldn't be doing. And it's like, I didn't care, And if it wasn't for my mum, I would probably be dead or in jail. Mind you, in jail, I'll probably have a gang now, to be honest. I'll be probably, quite okay with that. But from the point of view of the mask, that's what I did. I wore the mask to cope. And my TEDx is about that, is about the masks, where they came from, how I managed to then uncover them and that journey. So, yeah.
I had a really crazy, wild childhood too, but in a totally different way. And I also feel like I had different masks on. And my mom was really broke. And I came out of this I was the oops baby between 2 people who were currently married to other people.
Oh, okay.
And there were other kids in the other families, and it was kind of, a Jerry Springer type shit show. But I was really, really fortunate that it didn't end up like a Jerry Springer show where everyone was like, I hate you, whatever, and that nobody wanted me. And I was really fortunate that everybody involved ended up wanting to be in my life and be one of my parents. So I grew up with 5 parents going back and forth between 3 different.
Wow. Okay.
And I've talked about this on the show a lot, but for people who haven't heard this on my show before, I lived most of the time with my mother, who worked 5 part-time jobs. She was hardly ever home. She made next to no money and was not good at adulting. We're just going to say that. She sucked at it. And I spent a lot of time alone with my older brother, who kind of assumed the role of the dad in the house because it was just the 3 of us, and he was 3 years older, and we were home alone a lot because she was at work in ways that you could not leave your kids home alone. That now you would get in big trouble. And this is, in the 80s, and nobody cared. And so we had this, like, my brother and I always had this interesting relationship where he was kind of like the boss of me because he was in charge a lot when we were home alone. And it has followed me the rest of my life to figure out where I fit, because I was the baby in that family and always had people telling me what to do. And I didn't really get choices. I mean, even down to we'd go rent movies and they never picked movies I liked because I was the kid and they were the grownups, you know? And then I would go to my legal dad's house, the guy who had been married to my mom. They got divorced, but he was there on the day I was born at the hospital and put himself on my birth certificate. So legally, he's my dad for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And he got remarried to this woman who had 2 kids from her previous marriage. So my brother and I would go there on Friday nights and during the day on Saturday. And so I had this whole other family that had totally different dynamics of the way that they interact with each other. And the things that were okay at that house were not okay at the other house, and vice versa. And then Saturday afternoon, I would go to my biological dad's house, and he had gotten remarried to a woman. He had 2 kids from his previous marriage. He got remarried and they had 2 more kids. So I got
the boundaries are all over the place in all the different houses.
Yeah. And it's just like the way that people interacted. So I got to have the experience of living with a single mom who struggled really hard. And a lot of times we didn't have a lot of food and the gas would get turned off and things like that. And our house was a complete and total mess. Like, she did not know how to clean or didn't care to clean ever. And that's just how I grew up. And then I would go to my one dad's house, and their house would be like looking beautiful. Like, it would look better homes and gardens. Like, you know, it was like beautiful. And we'd go do those things as a family, and they would make plans and we'd go do things, and they were very, very good at adulting. And so I kind of learned, but I was the middle kid over there. So I was the baby at one house and the middle child the other. And at my biological dad's house, they lived way out in the country. And there was a lot of kind of like, go out in the woods, kids, see you later. So I got to have like this total weird, I don't want to say dichotomy, because it was 3 houses, but I kind of got to live 3 different lives. But in each family setup, I didn't get that close to anybody because I wasn't there all the time. And I was sort of like this interloper, and I had to be like, okay, so at this house, I'm the middle child, so I got to put that mask on. And at this house, I was the older kid, so I got to have my little brothers, and they would do what I wanted them to do. And I got to play the role of the big kid and wear that mask. And then I'd go back to my mom's house and go back to my real, most of the time, life of kind of being that baby that everybody didn't expect much from, because I was the baby. It definitely follows me into my current life, where I've been married to one guy for almost 10 years and we have 2 kids. And I'm like, how do I live in one house? It didn't occur to me how much being raised like that affected me until I became an adult. And it was like, oh yeah, what is this? I don't know how to stay in one place. I kind of have to consistently fight against the urge to take off and start a house somewhere else with a different family. And like, I don't really want to do that, but it's this urge to go somewhere else and have several lives at once, I guess. Yeah,
I'm not surprised from what you've said. And does your husband, when you explain it, does he get it? Does he understand?
I think he wants to get it.
Yeah.
My husband, it's funny because he's going to listen to this later probably and be like, I'm not, but he's kind of like a unicorn, where his parents are still married to each other. They've only been together with each other. They have 5 kids. All their kids are their kids. They go to church every Sunday. They, on the books, he comes from a very, very normal, quote unquote, normal family. His mom was a stay-at-home mom till his youngest brother was about to graduate high school, and she was there all the time, and she ran everything, and his dad went to work, and nothing in my life was ever like that. And so when I'm like, you don't get that I have to, like, if I'm only living one life with you, I have to live other lives in my head because I don't know how to not do that. And he's like, okay, but like, it doesn't really make sense to him because he doesn't, I don't know what it's like to have a normal life, and he doesn't know what it's like to have a broken life, like how to be a broken person. Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think that being a broken person is a bad thing. But there are two kinds of people in the world. There's people who have been broken and people who are not. And the people who are not, like, there's a before in your life and an after, like before broken shit happened and after. And if you haven't been broken, you don't really truly get like the intensity that grief can take over your life. You know, like you just don't have that. You haven't had that experience, and he hasn't had that experience. He's like a unicorn. Like he's really never had anything terrible ever happen to him ever. Yeah. And he's in his 40s. And I mean, enough where he's never even had a hangover ever. I know. And so in a lot of ways, it's like, I don't really want him to be able to understand that, because he's like, I'm like, I hope nothing ever breaks you like that, and that you can live your whole life in the before, and that you won't know what it's like when your soul hurts, physically hurts, and he doesn't know what that feels like. So it's a weird place for me to live. And sometimes I'm like, how did I get with this amazing guy who is so unbroken that I'm like looking for problems because there aren't any, you know?
Like, I want to know, where is it? Yeah,
where's the shoe that's going to drop? And, you know, that sometimes it's like, how did I get into this? And sometimes I'm like, how did I get into this? Because there are going to be things that he's not going to understand about me. And I am going to have emotional relationships with other people who do. And because he doesn't get it. And I don't know. It's been kind of a thing. We're navigating through it, but the pandemic and being quarantined together has really highlighted a lot of that stuff. And it's brought up a lot of kind of generational trauma things from my mother, and that she just didn't have a lot of self-love and struggled really hard to figure out a way to take care of herself and fight against her depression for her whole entire life. And the things that she was struggling to do in her 20s before she even had kids were the same things she was trying to figure out how to do when she died in her 50s. And so I've been kind of navigating through a lot of that with my own self and saying, like, you know, yes, there are times where he's not going to understand where I'm coming from, but should I, you know, is it self-sabotage to, you know, like make a big deal out of this right now? Because, you know,
I think from the point of view of, you know, I've come out of my marriage. I was married to my wife for 6.5 years. We were together 10 years. I absolutely adore her and love her with all of my heart. But there's a difference for me. So we, you know, when she was, and the reason I'm saying this, she was exactly the same as your husband. Famous five, we call it, the famous five upbringing, 3 kids, amazing parents, you know, unfortunately her dad has passed away now, but she had nothing big had ever happened. And then she walks into my shit show, which was my partner had just committed suicide. I was on a massive self-destruct, drinking, going back to all my coping mechanisms from when I was a kid, because that's what we do. And I was like, whoa, she's come into my world. And it's like, right, welcome to my world of what the shit is going on. It was nuts, you know, it was completely mental. And so I was going through this journey, and then I had a breakdown, not surprisingly, because my body had just had enough. And then on my journey through that, I got to a point I couldn't get any lower. And then I had a choice. Do I go back to the life of Lisa, the social butterfly, you know, always out, socializing, loads of friends, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really know who Lisa was without the masks. Or do I take it step by step and uncover each of them? Mm-hmm. And I'm my full journey of doing that, I would say, is probably 5 or 6 years. I am the most complete I have ever been in my life, the most at peace, the most joyous, and there's no feeling like it in the world. Is it really hard to do? Yes, it really is, because especially if you've got some deep stuff to deal with. Is it the best thing I've ever done in my life? Categorically, by far. Because the peace I have now is, and that's, I needed to leave my marriage because neither of us were happy. You know, I wasn't giving her what she needed. She wasn't giving me what I needed. We love each other very much, we knew it wasn't going to work. So we left before it got to a point where we were like, enough. But I'm not saying that as a comparison. I'm trying to sort of show that you can get through things together.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to understand, and you need to communicate with him. When I'd done my journey, I knew, because of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, I knew it wasn't going to work. And my wife knew it wasn't going to work. So that's what we did. But I also know people that have been drawn so close together because they did that journey of, if you go through all these different things and take him with you so he can get it, at least to a degree, or at least imagine he'll never understand, but at least give him the opportunity to do that. It can actually really bond you, and it could take that urge away from you to want to go, to want to have different things, which I totally understand. Completely get it. Completely get it.
Yeah.
So, and it is about looking at it. For me, it was each thing. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, the few things I've mentioned was just the start of it. And each thing then uncovered another layer and another layer. And where did that come from? And why did that? So I literally did it every time something come up. I got right to the bottom of it. There were tears. There was laughter. There was, oh my God. But the biggest thing there was self-compassion and self-forgiveness, because I did a lot of stupid stuff. I've got the biggest heart. I really have. And I will do anything for anyone. But there's a line with me. And if you cross it, I can walk away from you quite easily, because now I have a value on me. And now I believe that we teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. And now I have the highest amount of self-love. I will never, and I can categorically say never, be in love with anybody as much as I'm in love with me. And that's said not from ego or arrogance, but from a place of, I know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am. I know who Lisa King is, the real Lisa King, the one. If a mask even starts to slip on again, it's gone. And that took a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of talking, and a lot of forgiveness. But my God, was it worth it? It's, and I'm still ever evolving, but I've pretty much covered most of it now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I had to do, but so I think we all should go on a journey of self-discovery, mastery of who we are, and look inward for the answers and the peace, because looking outward is it will never fulfill you completely, ever.
Yeah, it's very wild. Like growing up the way that I did, I had to learn to be really independent very early. Yeah. And it's difficult for me to kind of unmask and be that vulnerable person that relies on other people. And I dated my first serious relationship. I was in high school in the beginning of college, and the guy that I was dating came from some really crap circumstances. And at the time, he was the one that was really, really broken. And I was moderately broken at the time. I was handling whatever I was doing pretty well, and he was not. And I sacrificed a lot of my own time and energy and love and experience and money and things trying to save him. And it took me 2.5 years of being with this guy to realize that you can't free a prisoner who's in love with their chains. And it took a really long time for me to get over that urge to want to save other people.
Yeah.
And especially people who aren't taking steps to save themselves. And it made me into a different kind of person, where some people would say that I'm really selfish. And I totally see it the way that you're saying. You're like, I will never love anybody more than I love me. And it's weird as a mother to be outward in the world saying, I love me the best when I have kids. And it's really like a taboo thing to not love your kids more than you love yourself. And that if you're a mother that continues to pursue their own passions and put their own hopes and dreams and things first, it's really hard to like fight against that you're a shitty mom because you don't always put your kids first. And it's not that I'm not putting their well-being first, but that, you know, I would rather be at work than playing Legos. Like I love my work, and I really every single day I have to fight against, you know, the societal pressures that try to make me feel like crap for loving what I do and being unapologetic about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a mum. I broke my back many years ago, so I couldn't carry kids. And then I chose, with everything that had happened, that it wasn't the best thing. So I'm a mother to, I've got godchildren, I've got nieces and nephews. I'm that mad person that turns up and goes absolutely crazy, does all the stupid stuff, calms them down sometimes and then leaves. so I'm, you know, I'm that fun, mad auntie type person. So it is easier for me to say that. But I truly think I'd be shouting even more if I had kids, because I want them to start their life knowing how important self-love is. And that doesn't mean I love them any less. It just means that I love me as much and more. And I need to love me as much as I can, because they need to also do the same. And if they see me doing it, then, you know, I butt against the norm always, because I always do the right thing. And right now, we need people to do it right now. And that's what I do. So I've gone completely against everything that everyone in my family is doing around this whole situation. And because I want those kids to see that you can do it. You can be the voice, and you can be somebody who actually said, you know what? No, this isn't right, what's happening. And I'm going to stand up and do whatever I need to do, you know, and that can be whatever. I think we're so programmed. We are so programmed to have to be a certain way. We're educated to be a certain thing. Who says? The people that are saying this are complete nutters who have just set things up to be, I don't even want to go, if we go down there, that's a whole new thing. But, you know, it's the minute you step outside of that and go, why? We've stopped asking questions. We've stopped questioning things. We just accept things. And that's not good enough. You know, it's not good enough. And we need strong women to go, do you know what? This is a really good thing. You know, my kids are loved. They see how important it is for mum to go out and have a really important voice in the world, you know, and that's important. It's important, but society says you've got to be at home, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm with you on it. I'm like, no, says who? But the thing is, we're educated to think that, and we have been for decades. So, you know, and this is, I've been threatened to be thrown off social media so many times because I say it as it is, and it's like, who says we're supposed to be this, or this? And it is. We are so programmed. So everybody, the minute anybody is a square peg in a round hole, they're like, oh, no. It's like, well, who sets the rules? Says who? So I've just trademarked a new brand called Perfectly Imperfect, and I've spelt the word perfectly with a K. And everything I sell will be imperfect. So every product is going to have an imperfection for a reason. You know, and it's like, I will shout, stop trying to fit in, because we are all unique. Let's be unique and let's embrace it. We're all supposed to be vanilla. I'm like, no, thank you.
Rainbow sprinkles. Rainbow sprinkles.
But, you know, when you just want to go, stop trying to fit in to these molds that society has created, when we need dynamic, amazing individuals to actually go, do you know what, let's be like this. So, yeah, good for you. Yeah. You can see how much you love your kids. It doesn't change how much you love them. That's the thing. People think that it doesn't change anything. You would do anything for your children. That doesn't change anything. It just means that they need to show that self-love is critical. And you're doing that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times that self-love and self-care get merged into one thing, and they're definitely not the same, but they do go hand in hand. And I think a lot about what they say whenever you take an airplane, where they're like, secure your own mask before helping others.
Yeah, damn right.
I think about that a lot when people are like, oh, well, you have to, give everything and provide for your kids in every possible way and be their 24/7 entertainment system and all these things. Yeah. And then everything for them needs to come before anything for you. And I'm like, how does anyone operate from like a system of lack like that? Like, I can't. And I recently...
But then you're just giving them the rest of you. You're not giving them the best of you.
Exactly.
And the thing is,
can we make t-shirts that say that?
I know.
Yes.
And it's true. Why do that when if you're fulfilled and you're living the best life you can live, your children will see that. Your energy, your vibration around them will be unbeatable, rather than being around them when you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, you're not living your best life. And they'll feed off that. They'll see it.
Exactly.
Why would anybody want that for their kids?
I know. And like growing up the way that I did, with most of living with my mom, who took every part-time job she could get because that's what she could get. And she never had a full-time job in her whole life. She worked her ass off. She never had enough money, and she never got to do anything she really loved to do for her work. And I know what it's like being a kid growing up in a house with a mom who is totally unfulfilled by the stuff that fills up her whole day and takes all of her energy. Yeah. I was like, I would rather that the time I do spend with my kids is something that is full of happiness and joy than for them to be around me all the time where I'm not doing the things that I love and that I physically and mentally feel like crap. I don't think that's really good for them. But
no, I was around that as a kid, so I get it. I completely get it. And my mum's, I adore my mum. Me and my mum are very, very close. And, I've just turned 50. She's 70 this year. So I'm so bloody grateful that we still have time together. And she's now at the point where she's starting to do things, as much as she can, obviously, at the moment, where she's not always saying yes to everything. It's like, Mum, the word no means that you're valuing you. It doesn't mean you're never going to see them again. It means right now, you're more important. That's all it means. Mm-hmm. So the people pleaser part of it came from learnt behaviour from my mum, because my dad was a controller, like awful, narcissist. And I'd say it to his face, so it's no problem with sound on here. But mum was the perfect guise for him, until she started to say no, and then, has settled into a life that, that I want more for her, and it's like, come on. So she's starting to do that, and it's so important because we only get one. I know it's an old cliche, but right here, right now, this is the life that we have.
Exactly. We gotta make the most of it, And my mom died at 54. I was 20 years old, and so like I know firsthand how short life can be. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to wait until I'm 54 to start doing what I love.
Yeah, I've already told the kids because I've got no children, so everything that I own will go to the kids. And I'm like, don't expect to have any money left because I'm going to spend it all living life. But you can have a house. That's it. Sorted. I said, so the rest of it, I said, I'm going to be experiencing new things. I'm going to be going places. I'm going to be helping others. I'm going to be setting up a foundation, blah, blah, blah. And they now look at me and go, yeah, okay, we're not expecting. It's fine. It's become a bit of a joke. It's like, yeah, don't look at me about leaving any money. Because I'm going to spend it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, we could talk all day, but I don't want to run out of time. At the end of all of the episodes, I ask all the guests the same 5 questions because I like hearing how different people answer the same questions in different ways.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Ryan, it's 5 question time. Everyone who listens to the show now knows that Ryan is my video editor, so I talk to him and then I make him edit stuff out.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. Okay, so question number 1. Tell me about an experience, like a single moment that shaped who you are today.
My partner's suicide. Because when she died, I knew her life. Initially, I didn't understand the self-love and stuff. So I knew my journey began because I knew that her life had to mean something. There had to be, for Becky, there had to be a legacy. So I started my journey for her. And then on my journey, realised it was me I had to do it for. So the journey was very cathartic, but that would be the moment that shaped me. So it had to take a tragedy to change and to create the change.
I think that happens a lot. Okay, number 2. When you feel defeated or overcome, what do you tell yourself to keep going?
I love me, and I'm doing the very best I can do today.
We need to make all the shirts. There's so many good quotes in this. We're going to be pulling all sorts of little videos. Okay. Number 3, tell me about a way that you overcame a failure or a mistake and what you learned from it.
I see a failure as a learning. So for me, I look at what I can learn from it now. So if I've made a lot of mistakes, so what I do is I talk about it. So I release any of the shame. The moment you speak about something, the shame goes. So for me, the more I talk about it and learn and say, this is what I've learned from it, it becomes a lesson rather than a failure. I've made a lot of them, but I'm really successful now. So I learned from them.
That's so great. All right. Number 4, what one trait or habit is most responsible for keeping you on track?
Say that again, just to make sure I've got the right context.
What one trait or habit is most responsible for keeping you on track?
Consistency. So I'm a bit of a rebel. I still am. I just don't do drink and drugs anymore. But for me now, I can quite easily be distracted if something really, that I want to do comes up. So I stay consistent. I have daily non-negotiables I do every day. I make sure they get done. I start my day the right way. It goes off piece now and again, but generally it's keeps me on track.
I'm curious, what are your non-negotiables every day?
I do my gratitudes first thing. First thing I do my journaling, I do my affirmations, and I make sure I remind myself every day that you're doing an amazing job, whatever the day is.
That's so great. Okay, number 5, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, and what advice would you give to other people?
Oof. Best piece of advice I've ever got. Do you know what? I've got to bring my granddad into this because I lost my granddad about 8 years ago, and he was like more of a dad to me. So he always said, just be happy. It's the one that's come. I've had many, many pieces of advice, but he's springing to mind at the moment. So I would say, be happy, do things that make you happy. And the advice I would give is that self-love is the ultimate gift you can give yourself. And once you do that, you realize that everything is possible.
Oh, so good. So good. Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I hope that it was enjoyable for all of you who are listening and for you being on the show. Can you tell everyone where they can find you online?
Yeah, so Instagram is @LisaKing, but the L is a number 1. I've got quite a common name, I realised then. Facebook is Lisa King, so I'm on Facebook. I'm on Clubhouse. Again, got Lisa King as my name. My email address is lisa@clarityfocusandgrowth.com. And yeah, so get a hold of me on there. I've got books and things like that, but I can, if anyone wants to get in touch, I can let them know what I'm doing.
Perfect. Well, we'll have links to all that stuff in our show notes. And for everyone who's out there listening, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Reach the Stars podcast. If you could give us a little thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to the channel and review us on iTunes, that helps other people to get introduced to the show if they would normally never come across it. But really the best thing that you can do if you love this show is to tell other people about it. So share links to it and tell your friends and keep checking out the episodes. I appreciate y'all. This show has been my outreach to the outside world during all of the crazy quarantine. And I'm really glad that it has become something that is approaching our 1-year anniversary of doing episodes every week, which for somebody who has crazy ADHD, that is a pretty big feat for me to consistently do something every single week for an entire year.
That is brilliant.
And to not lose my focus on what I'm doing. So thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Reach the Stars.
Thank you. It's been brilliant. Really has. And it's flown by.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a good conversation, and that somebody out there who was having a crap day is no longer having a crap day. That's my goal.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you. And we'll see you next week on the Reach the Stars podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
A single interaction has the power to change your life forever. This is a place for the stories of those moments. Stories of pursuing dreams, overcoming tragedy and failure, of coming back to life after so much of what feels like dying, of continuing on with only a vision as a map. This is the place where those moments live on. Come sit by the fire, look up at the stars, and be forever changed too.
Thank you for being with us on the Reach the Stars podcast. Our theme music is generously provided by Byrocratic. You can find him on bandcamp.com. Thank you to all of our current patrons, guests, and everyone else who helps make this dream a reality. We are so proud to be building this amazing community with all of you. If you love this podcast, please consider sharing with a friend, leaving a review on iTunes, and becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/reachthestars. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see the videos of these conversations. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, do something cool and tell us about it.